impromptu weekend reading vlog time. So I'm currently reading a book. I'm about halfway through and I wasn't quite sure where else to fit it in different video ideas that I have. And I wanted to talk about it. So we're doing a little impromptu weekend reading vlog. And the book that I'm currently reading is The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. So this is one that my very sweet boyfriend got for me for Christmas. So I'm very excited that I'm loving it because it would be sad to not love a book that he so kindly got me as a gift. But this one has been great. So you're following Esme. Oh, actually, please hold. I need to show you a squirrel that's on our balcony. How cute is this squirrel? So we get a bunch of squirrels that love hanging out on our balcony. So we give them nuts because why not? And so we literally get huge bags of nuts at Costco just so that we can give them to the squirrels that hang out on our balcony. So this is one of our little babies. And yeah, they are just hilarious to watch. Don't mind the dead plant there. We're gonna be taking care of that soon. So just pretend that's not there, interrupting your view of the adorable squirrel. It's also pretty windy, so it's also kind of fun to watch their tail just going in the wind. Anyway, yeah, so that's one of our little squirrel friends. Where was I? Anyway, so we're following Esme. The story starts when she's around 5-6 years old. Her mother has passed away when she was very little. Ooh, we have another squirrel. They might be fighting. No, one of them is just, okay. They're so funny. One of them just bounced onto the balcony and then just chased the other one away, or like scared the other one off a little bit, and then jumped down, grabbed a nut, and then ran. Anyway, her mother has passed away when she was very little, so it's basically just her and her father. Her father is a lexicographer working on the first edition of the Oxford English Dictionary. And so she's always grown up around words. She's always been fascinated by words and their history and their meaning and how that changes over time. And each chapter you jump forward a little bit in time. So you start when she's pretty little, but you do kind of go forward in time and kind of grow up with her. And when she's really small, because her mother's passed away, she spends a lot of time with her father at his work. And because she's small, she'll crawl in and around the tables, and she's pretty physically low to the ground. And so she literally has a different perspective than some of the others do in how she thinks about things. And on the floor are quite a few either discarded words, or sometimes they're duplicates, duplicate amount of research for a word that they don't need more research for. So some of it's not necessarily discarded words, but she literally is looking at some of the discarded and lost words that aren't making it into the dictionary. When she's young, she doesn't really think too much of this, but as she's starting to talk to more people, she's starting to realize that the words that, for example, some of the people in the market, some of the words that they use aren't in the dictionary. Some words that just ordinary, everyday people use aren't in the dictionary, and that the dictionary is being curated. The words that are in there are literally being curated by wealthy white men. And she's starting to realize what that means and the implications of that. And so she's starting to literally collect words from everyone that she meets, and is trying to work to get a bunch of words included into the dictionary that literally you only come from a different perspective, come from different backgrounds, or come from talking to other people that aren't like the people that she grew up around. And was fighting to get those included into the dictionary because she's very adamant that these words mean no less than any other word in the dictionary, just because they're not spoken by Oxford educated people, or people who have the ability to kind of have a job like that. And so I'm loving the story. The writing, gorgeous. I'm loving Esme. I'm loving growing up with her. She's super curious and inquisitive and pretty feisty, and has met some people who are working with the suffragette movement at the time. This is late 1800s, early 1900s, by the way, in case that helps kind of frame the time that we're talking about here. And so she's starting to meet some people who are associated with the suffrage movement, and trying to look more into what that is, political movements like that, the words that are used in those, and how she can help include those in the dictionary, and how she does or doesn't want to participate in that. How is she comfortable participating? How is she able to participate? What maybe is she not comfortable doing? Ultimately just trying to figure out who she is, what she believes, how she wants to fight for what she believes, where her place is, and, trying to figure out how she wants to contribute to the world as she's learning more and more about just the wider world out there, and how her perspective grows over time, right? So when you're 5, 6, you have a very different perspective than when you're in your 20s, or have a bit more education, or have been to more places and can see that it's more than just the perspective that you've grown up with, that there's a wide world out there with a bunch of different perspectives and experiences, and that those need to be incorporated, in this case quite literally, into a dictionary. And so it's super interesting. As I said, I'm loving the characters, not just Esme, but her dad and the people that she has surrounded herself with are just super interesting and fun to follow. Again, writing gorgeous. I'm listening on audio as well. Narrator is amazing. I'm having a great time. As I said, I'm about halfway through, so I'm going to continue reading that. I also have one more book that I really need to read this weekend, and that is, it's downstairs, so I'll show you a physical copy later, but that is Saving Us by Katherine Hayhoe. It's a climate nonfiction. I have a book club meetup next week, and next week is going to be a very busy week. So basically, if I don't have this book done basically on Monday, then it's just not gonna get done. I'm reading it physically as part of the thing. It's sometimes really hard to find time to physically read because I listen to audiobooks so much when I'm doing other things where I can't physically read, or maybe I'm just tired right before bed and I just don't have the energy to read with my eyes and slowly highlight and annotate and take in information that I really want to in the way that I do for that book. And so it's hard to find time to physically read, but I really need to get a move on that one if I'm going to finish it by the time I have a book club meetup on that one. So it's Super Bowl weekend as well, so it should be a fun weekend. We're gonna have a couple of friends over. Anyway, I'm hoping I can at least film a few random clips this weekend and check in on those 2 books and see what kind of progress I can make. But for now, I'm going to sip a bit of wine. It's Friday after work, so I'm going to sip a bit of wine, continue listening to the audiobook, and we'll have some dinner here soon enough. We're going to see Megan tonight, so also very excited about that. Yeah, it's gonna be a good and hopefully productive weekend. Good morning. Just having some coffee after having a nice chill morning and some breakfast. My boyfriend has gone to hang out with his mama for a while, and productivity-wise is actually kind of helpful because I have a lot that I want to get done today. So I'm just sipping some coffee, and then I'll kind of get started on some things. One, I want to get a video live. It's filmed and edited. I just want to make sure that I adjust the captions and get all of the extra little odds and ends ready for it to actually go live. And then I want to get the information together for and film my anticipated releases video. It's early February and I still actually past early February, and I still have not done that for the first part of the year, just to talk about some releases that I'm really excited about. And so I'm hoping I can do that soon. So I'm hoping I can get that done today. We'll see how long some other things take, but hopefully I can fit that in. But I definitely want to get that other video live, and hopefully at least do the research for that video at the very least, even if I don't have time to film it. It takes a minute to kind of scroll through and look for everything, and I try to do it 6 months at a time. So we'll see. Anyway, hopefully I can at least get a little bit done towards that. I do also have quite a bit of cleaning to do. We're hosting a couple of friends for the Super Bowl tomorrow, so I do have some cleaning that I want to get done. And so while I'm cleaning, I do have the audiobook for the Dictionary of Lost Words, and so I can be listening to that while cleaning, which is really nice. And then hopefully I can get to some of Saving Us as well today. So it's gonna be a busy day. I also need to get some groceries at some point. Fortunately, there's a grocery store that's literally within 2 minutes walking from us in a shopping plaza that's right next door. So fortunately, grocery shopping can be very simple and quick if everything we need is there. So, but yeah, it's a lot to get done today, and then we'll see what's going to be going on this evening. But yeah, and yeah, last night was fun. We just had some dinner, went to go see Megan, which we both really ended up enjoying, and the movie was at 7:45, so by the time we got back, we just crashed. I did read a little bit of the Dictionary of Lost Things before going to sleep, but yeah, so that's the plan. Some video work, some cleaning, and just getting a few things done. So I'm gonna finish my coffee first, though. That's the first priority. So we've already hit a little snack. I'm here just sat at my desk, watching Kayla's latest video, getting some video work done for the book, or for the video that I want to post. And I realized as I was adjusting the closed captions and looking at it that I said in that video that I was gonna insert a picture, but I never did while editing. So I'm trying to actually cut that little snip out real quick, but it takes a while. It's already uploaded, so I was doing it through the YouTube editor, which I actually have never used. I use a different editor. And so once I make that adjustment, it takes a while for it to adjust in YouTube. And so I've done everything else I can at the moment to get that video prepped, and then hopefully a little bit later, hopefully it'll be fine and it'll be adjusted with that little clip taken, or that little portion taken out, and then I can readjust the closed captions and get that posted. To be fair, I mean, I forgot to put it in while editing, but also I said that I was going to put in a picture of my TBR shelf, which you can see over here a little bit. Problem is that with it against the window over there, it's actually really hard to take a good picture of it in terms of lighting, where you would actually be able to see the titles of all of the books anyway, so probably not the best picture to try to insert anyway. Anyway, so I've done what I can for that one. I'll probably just do some research now on what books are coming out early to mid this year, and see if I can at least get some stuff prepped for that video and maybe get that video filmed. But yeah, it's a shame, but I'll check back in on it later, and hopefully it'll still be fine and I can post it today. And if not, then I imagine it'll be ready tomorrow, and I can post it tomorrow at the very least. So anyway, I'm just gonna keep chugging away. So good news, the edits to that YouTube video actually all finalized, so I actually am able to get that live. So I just made that video live, and I've done the research for my anticipated releases video, and that's just going to be the ones that immediately jump out to me as authors or continuations of series that I'm interested in, things like that. So it's going to be a pretty short list. I'm trying not to add too many other things because there's already enough that I'm going to want to be doing this year. But maybe someday I will really look deep into all the new releases and try to keep up with them, but that's not the reality right now. Anyway, but I did the basic research for that. I have yet to film it. It's 12:30 and I really want to get some cleaning in, so I think that's going to be my next priority, is to get some cleaning in until I'm hungry and want to have some lunch. Maybe a bit more cleaning and then film that video. Hopefully edit it super quickly if I can. We'll see. But yeah, so I feel good that I was at least able to get that posted or get that live. So we'll have some productive time cleaning and I'll check back in a bit. I'm going to listen to the Dictionary of Lost Things while I do that. So after a bit of cleaning and lunch, I'll check in on how that's going. Actually, a super productive afternoon. I did a bunch of cleaning, went on a grocery run, had some lunch, all that good stuff. I actually just filmed my anticipated releases video, so we're just getting all the things done today. And I need to leave my vacuum to charge a bit more. It's a cordless vacuum. I need to leave it to charge a bit more before I can do any other vacuuming. So I think this is a good opportunity to just get a bit more reading done. I have been listening to more of the Dictionary of Lost Words while I've been cleaning, and I'm still loving this. So there are a couple other things I want to mention. One correction from my first clip. So she's collecting words from the women that she's speaking with, and she is wanting these to be written down for posterity, and she thinks that their lack of inclusion in the Oxford English Dictionary is awful, and she is trying to figure out what she can do to get them in, but she is collecting them on her own. She's kind of storing them in a separate place by herself, like kind of on her own, trying to figure out what she can or should do with them. And so she's trying to figure out how she can kind of fight for these words to be included in larger discussions of what should, be in the dictionary. But she's also trying to figure out and find her voice and find her courage to really strongly advocate for that directly. But she has these on her own and keeps these slips of paper stored away. And so I just, wanted to clarify that first, but also I want to mention the relationship between Esme and her father is so precious. He's amazing. I really love his character a lot, and he just is so supportive of Esme and just absolutely loves her, will do anything for her, thinks the world of her, and really wants her to grow up to be what she wants to be, and wants to support her in that and support her in her beliefs that women should have the right to vote, that words that women tend to say or use shouldn't be disregarded just because they're more frequently spoken by women. And so he's just very supportive, and I love their relationship so much. And I won't go into detail, but I'm also loving, there's a slight romantic component here that I'm really loving. It's such a sweet, some sweet and tender relationships between different characters. But I love Esme as a character so much, and I'm just really enjoying this book. So I am probably going to read some of Saving Us. It is, let's see, what time is it? 3:45. I might go ahead and edit the anticipated releases video real quick as well. It's pretty short, so I might try to edit that real quick and then get some reading in. And yeah. Good morning. Matt is kindly making breakfast downstairs, so I wanted to check in really quick and say that I did finish the Dictionary of Lost Words last night. It was so good. The ending was super emotional. And there were a few times in here where I was getting pretty emotional. I didn't cry, but it was pretty emotional. But it was so good. I loved it. And I then started listening to the prologue of Blood Marked by Tracy Deonn. I'm not going to be listening to much more of that this weekend or go more into that in this vlog. I just wanted to get that one started. I did read a little bit more of Saving Us, the climate nonfiction as well, and hopefully I'll be able to read more of that today. We're going to have some breakfast and coffee, hopefully take a walk, and we need to go to a coffee shop at some point today to get some more coffee, and so we might just hang out at a coffee shop for a bit, so hopefully I can read some then. But then we'll be prepping to have some friends over for the Super Bowl, and I'm really not gonna film anything of the Super Bowl with our friends. I think we just want to hang out, and I don't really want to worry about filming or think about it, so we'll see what today brings, but it should be a fun day. We don't have too much more work to do. I just need to vacuum a little bit more, so I might listen to some more of Blood Marked while I vacuum, since I can't really read a physical book while doing that. But yeah, we're just gonna relax, have a nice breakfast, take a nice walk. It's supposed to be raining too, so I don't know if I'll actually take my phone out to get an eclipse of our walk, but we'll see. Okay. And we're back where we started. Today has been, it's gotten away from us. So we had a lazy morning, breakfast, coffee, went for a 3-hour walk where we did stop by a few little free libraries that I did not get any clips of because it was raining and cold and I just didn't want to. But we did stop by a few free little libraries just to look, and came back and crashed on the couch for a little while. Had some more coffee to get my energy up, and now we need to prep for our friends coming over for the Super Bowl. So we'll see if I can actually get any more of Saving Us read. Maybe not. We need to get some things ready first, and then I'll see if I have time for that. But if not, then that's okay, and we'll just pretend like I can still get it read before the meetup happens. Maybe I can read some more of it tomorrow. We'll see. Hopefully I can get it done before the meeting. It's always the goal. So it is the next weekend, and I just wanted to give a quick wrap up. So I mostly wanted to talk about what I was reading last weekend, but I had also mentioned and wanted to follow up on talking about Saving Us by Katherine Hayhoe. And I did have that book club meetup, so I'm here to report that I have finished the book. I was almost done at the time of the meetup, but I did finish it up the next day and finish that last little bit. But I have since finished this, and I really enjoyed this. So I think she's coming at it from a very unique perspective. She is a climate scientist, but she also has vast amounts of experience talking to different kinds of groups and connecting with them on kind of getting on board with climate change action in varying capacities. And so in here, her goal isn't to talk about the science of climate change. She barely talks about kind of the science behind how the earth is changing. There's plenty of other resources for that, and she does point to some of those, but that's not really the purpose of this. The purpose of this also isn't here's a blueprint for how these various policy or scientific options, and if you map them out this specific way, then according to the numbers we can't stop climate change. That's also not her purpose here. She does talk about quite a few solutions to climate change and kind of goes into different sectors and talks about what solutions there are in those sectors and how they fit into the overall picture of stopping climate change. She talks a lot about individual action versus systematic change, and how important it is, how important it is to remember that although individual action is important, especially in certain contexts, that if you look at the numbers, there needs to be more systemic change, and that individuals, even with certain lifestyle changes or certain decisions that individuals can easily make on their own within the current system, if you add all of that up, that's still not going to be enough. So she makes things like that very clear. But I think her purpose here is to kind of put puzzle pieces together that I've seen these different components in various books on climate change, but I think she's putting them together in a unique way and kind of making a unique argument here. So she's framing everything here, kind of centering around how can you have a conversation with someone about climate change, and she's kind of making an argument for why she feels like that's an incredibly important thing to consider, and then also giving you the tools and capacity to have that conversation. And so she's talking about, why, how the brain makes decisions, how the brain reacts to fear, why people's reaction to climate change has kind of shifted to be what it is now, and why it's so polarized, but how there are still ways that you can connect with people on, actions that can work to stop climate change, even if that's not the purpose behind why they're doing it. That you can kind of meet someone where they are and consider their values, their framework for how they evaluate the world, and tap into that and consider how climate change is going to negatively impact that, or how it's going to fit into their personal story and framework, and how action on climate change, even if that's not what you're calling it, action on climate change can fit very well within that framework for how they make decisions, and how to find those connections, how to make those bonds with people, and how those can be incredibly important for them. Either changing their mind, getting them to take certain actions, or even just planting a seed for some thoughts that grow later and in surprising ways. So I think her main goal here is to put the science and the policy and the communication and the psychology pieces together as a blueprint for having a conversation, and that's kind of where she's framing it here, which I haven't seen in a lot of other climate change books. So I thought it was a super unique, interesting piece on climate change. I think she lays everything out very clearly. She doesn't mince words. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. I think she's speaking very directly and clearly as a way to really kind of build that rapport with the reader. And and she doesn't talk down to anyone. She says, this is this is the core of what all of this research and literature is saying, and here are my experiences after having many, many conversations with people about climate change and who's the right messenger for that. Anyway, and so I thought it was a very interesting, compelling, very clearly laid out series of arguments. Anyway, so just wanted to check in and say that I did in fact finish that one, and would highly recommend if that. I highly recommend to anyone, but I think it's an interesting and important read. So yeah, that is going to do it for this vlog. I'm not currently feeling very well, so I have enough energy at the moment to film this clip, and hopefully I'll be able to have the energy to kind of edit everything together as well for a couple of videos that I want to wrap up and hopefully get up soon, but we'll see how that goes. I also just need to make sure I take care of myself. So, but yeah, whenever I can get this edited and up is when that happens, but I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll leave more information below with my Instagram, more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.